Okay, I have Rachel from Port Douglas says, is the keto diet safe? I heard it can be extremely dangerous for some people. What is the better way to lose weight and gain energy? So, when it comes to the ketogenic diet, there's always going to be benefits and drawbacks to anything that you start doing. And ketogenic diet specifically, I would say the benefits are people that are learning about the ketogenic diet are getting off of processed sugar. They're getting off of artificial sugars. They're getting off of processed foods. They're getting rid of the crap bread and all of these things that most people eat all the time. So, that's the thing, like whether you're going on to a ketogenic diet or a paleo diet or any kind of diet, so to speak, is, a lot of times you're getting education of what not to do that most people are actually doing all the time. So anytime you're getting off of processed sugar, really crap chocolate, getting off of, crappy bread, that's just the mainstream kind of bread with chemicals and pesticides and all kinds of crap that's being put into there, even heavy metals in some cases, people are going to do better. But when it comes to, is a ketogenic diet healthy? When it comes to the traditional way people are eating a ketogenic diet, absolutely not. Eating, heaps of chicken wings and bacon and butter and just fat is absolutely not good for your health. Anybody who tells you that it is just has not done it long enough. People on a ketogenic diet eating that way, number one, they're either really young so their body can put up with anything. People can go out and drink and party and do cocaine and drugs and all kinds of things and still appear to be somewhat healthy because they're also, working out and running and doing all these different things. But there is not a long-lived culture on this planet that lives a ketogenic type of lifestyle. And the only people in my awareness, and enlighten me if you can, that eat a ketogenic type of lifestyle are people who are living like in the Arctic. I'm talking about like the Inuit people who have access to no other kind of food except for like seal blubber and fish. So that's what they're eating. And the truth is they're not a long-lived culture of people. And, some people are claiming they're disease-free. That's complete and utter nonsense. Like if you went and, stayed with these people and observe them, I think it's the last thing you would ever want to do is just eat fat. These people have a high prevalence of stroke. They have a higher prevalence of stroke than the Western diet. So, and this is, if you want a link, I'll send you a link to an actual medical journal. I've done some research into the Inuit people because I'm interested in long-lived cultures, disease-free cultures. It's what my passion is. Inuits are not one of them. There might be a couple of other tribes that eat a lot of fat. They're exercising all day, they're running, they're out in the sun, but again, they're still not living a long life. They're dying, younger from disease. When we look at any healthy, long-lived culture, free from most heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and the things that we're all trying to avoid, then you start to see blue zones, and in every single blue zone, it's a high plant-based diet. It's high in carbohydrates, high in good sugars from fresh fruits and vegetables, etc. Now, why do some people feel mentally clear and lose weight on a ketogenic diet? Well, they're losing weight on a ketogenic diet specifically because they're also becoming calorie deficient. They're reducing their amount of calories. Anytime you reduce your amount of calories with any diet, you're going to lose weight. Now, the reason why they feel good and don't feel like they need as much is because when you are in ketosis, this is one of the benefits of a ketogenic diet. When you're in ketosis, ketones feed the brain, there's no doubt about it. They nourish the brain, and they shut off something called the apostat that exists in the hypothalamus of the brain. So when we're in nutritional ketosis by eating fats and things like this, or you're in ketosis through fasting, which is what I promote, because fasting levels of ketosis create longevity, and just about every blue zone on the planet and people that live long, healthy lives for thousands of years do some form of intermittent fasting. Some cultures totally skip breakfast. They have tea in the morning, they eat a lunch, and then they eat a big dinner. And they're getting, they're getting into nutritional ketosis through intermittent fasting. That ketosis burns our own fat and feeds the brain and creates a level of detoxification and, healing of our cells. Now, if you're doing nutritional ketosis with eating a lot of fat, your body's mainly running on burning the fat that you're eating rather than actually using the fat that we have to burn that off. So I would say, doing ketosis from a situation of intermittent fasting is much more beneficial for actually burning fat. If you look into the ketogenic diet, you'll also find a lot of nutritionists and researchers are saying we actually lose a lot of, people lose a lot of water weight, which is a lot of what's coming off. But again, if you're on a ketogenic diet, it's probably one of the hardest things you could ever follow because you gotta just eat fats and eat, a lot of meat and butter and, things of that nature. So it's not very practical, but, you can lose weight doing it. Is it healthy? No, it's not healthy. And if you look at a lot of these sites where people are, getting onto this fat and doing the ketogenic diet, they have this thing called the keto flu. A lot of people are getting flu-like symptoms that last up to 1 to 2 months. They get, diarrhea. They get constipated. They can't shit. And, these guys on there are like, oh yeah, it's just, it's perfectly normal. It'll pass and it'll get better. And it's just if you're eating 6 chicken wings and bacon and butter and all these, animal-based foods, do you really not want to be shitting? Being constipated with a bunch of dead animals stuck in your digestive system, is that healthy? No, it's not healthy. What's healthy? Eating vegetables, eating fruits, eating nuts and seeds, eating things that Mother Nature provides for us. It's just common fucking sense, okay? If you want antioxidants, if you want vitamins and minerals and all these sorts of things, a lot of people are getting sick on the ketogenic diet because they're lacking in minerals, and then some people are like, oh, well, if you drink a bunch of salt water, that'll boost your minerals and then you don't have that problem. And yeah, that's the truth, and I do recommend adding a bit of salt to water anyways to boost mineral content. But anyways, this is, a little bit of information about the ketogenic diet. I don't recommend that you do it. If you do want to experience ketosis, again, the ancient Egyptian culture, the ancient Greeks, if you go back and you look at the Spartans, if you look at the Roman garrisons, if you look at some of the most, healthy, amazing warriors back in the past of men, these guys would go all day fasting and basically eat 1 meal a day. So if you want to talk about boosting human growth hormone by 2,000%, boosting protein utilization and protein recycling, if you want to talk about, really getting healthy, then we can start to discuss why ketosis is so healthy, but doing that from a fasted state, not doing that from, eating every animal in sight and just eating the fat in general. And there may be some people out there who are promoting, you can go and eat a vegetarian ketogenic diet. If you just want to drink coconut oil all day and eat some avocado, avocados are my favorite food, but I'm not just going to eat avocados and drink coconut oil. But again, if you want to do a level of ketogenic diet, so to speak, what you could do is intermittent fasting. I do intermittent fasting every single day. I typically go till about noon, 12 o'clock before I eat anything. Sometimes if I've smashed it out, this morning I was smashing it just with some training and different things, so I might eat a little bit earlier today if I feel hungry. But sometimes I eat around 10 or 11 o'clock. I usually start out with fruit. But if you want to keep that ketosis going, you could steam some broccoli, add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil or a little bit of oil if you wanted to that, or some ghee or something like that. It's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. But I'm just saying, if you wanted to get a level of that ketosis and promoting fat loss without, adding all the toxicity and high protein that could potentially lead to diabetes, cancer, and heart disease and stroke, then you could after intermittent fasting, basically just eat avocado and some steamed broccoli with maybe a little bit of extra virgin olive oil or extra virgin coconut oil, something like that, and just have that as a small meal, and then that will like keep you going and feeling good until you have dinner. But I would recommend, if you're just doing that, then around dinner time you need to load yourself up with some good carbohydrates, bananas, fresh fruit, whatever it is, to make sure you're getting high antioxidants, all the phytonutrients that fight disease, all your B vitamins that produce energy and this sort of stuff. And after you have a good fruit load, then you could, wait 15, 20, 30 minutes for that to digest. Fruit digests very quickly, and then you could have your dinner. And I would recommend a lot of vegetables, soup, salad, whatever you feel like having. Plant-based whole foods, stuff that Chef Cynthia makes is fantastic. So that's been a long answer, but I know that ketogenic diet is probably the fastest growing fad that is out there. It's very new, and I think that a lot of people are gonna, once they get past the main things, they might feel good, and hey, they might lose a lot of weight. And if you're really overweight and you can't lose weight, it could be beneficial to lose some weight. But then it's going to be really important to get some nutrition back in your body and maintain that weight loss with a healthy diet. And, people going into a ketogenic diet, it is not sustainable in the long term. I work with people who are major proponents for the ketogenic diet. After a year or 2 years of doing it, come to me and pay me for a consultation and say, Tyler, I need to keep this absolutely private. You're not allowed to mention my name or say that I'm working with you because I've dedicated my life to this lifestyle, but I'm hitting a wall with it and it's not working for me and I need to figure out something else that I can do. And what do? I turn them on to a ketogenic lifestyle with intermittent fasting, but actually feeding your body what it needs. Our brain and our body is needing and wanting carbohydrate, carbon hydration, oxygen, and these are the things that our bodies run on. Our bodies run on fruit, sugars, vegetables, nuts and seeds. We basically just need to eat plants, but we can still get the benefits of ketosis, again, through intermittent fasting. So sorry I spent so much time on that, but thank you, Rachel, for asking. It's a very good question.